Okay, while we're getting the screen share started again, just to welcome everyone, my name is Caroline. I'm here with the ACD Avoca group. I'm going to be moderating our session today. Really excited about the topic, focusing on strengthening market linkages for smallholder farmers. We have two very experienced and very passionate speakers who are going to be giving their time today. We'll hear a short presentation from each of them, and we'll also have time after each of the speakers to for some questions and answers. Some people, as you registered, you submitted questions, so we have some of those ready. If you have other questions during the session, please feel free to use the chat and you can add them in there. We may not have a chance to get to all of them, but we'll do our best to make time for those questions we can get to. I think we're going to go ahead and start. Are we able to pull the screen share back up for the PowerPoint? Okay, great. And we can go ahead and just go to that second slide once you share it. And I'm going to invite Sami Saran, who is the Tanager country representative, just to start us off here.
Thank you, Caroline. I hope I'm audible. So I'll just take a couple of minutes to introduce Tanager. So Tanager is part of a larger organization called ACD Avoca. And ACD Avoca, the parent organization, started in 1963. Tanager is a subsidiary which started about 30 years back. And in South Africa, we operate as Tanager. This is the NPO registered in South Africa. Next slide, please. So those are the three pillars around which Tanager works: inclusive food systems, developing sustainable supply chains, and then providing economic opportunities for youth. Next slide, please. So like I said, Tanager has been around for 30 years. Over these 30 years, it's worked in about 16 countries. And currently, it's operating out of South Africa, Kenya, Burkina Faso. Through Kenya, there are other countries within Africa which are also covered through the project that's being implemented there. And then the other projects are in Honduras and in India. Next slide. So this is the one in South Africa, and it's called Imbeyu. So we started in South Africa in 2022, and the first phase ended in December of 2024. Overlapping with that, the second phase, in which we are currently in, started in November of 2024, and it goes all the way up to 2028. So overall, it's a multi-phase 7-year, $6.4 million farmer development initiative. It's funded completely by the John Deere Foundation, and it's designed to help the smallholder maize farmers to look at a diversified crop production portfolio, which includes maize, of course, but also includes other crops like fresh produce. And it is for that intent that we have today two speakers, one from the grain sector and the other from the fresh produce sector. Next slide. And as part of our work in Eastern Cape, essentially we look at various stakeholders in the ecosystem. And these include the buyers, of course. It also includes the government institutions, includes the commodity associations, for example, Grain SA, Milibios from Grain SA, there's Potato SA. And then we also look at the other NGOs, the national and district development agencies, as well as the overall
I think we may have lost your audio.
Yeah, that's it for me, Caroline.
Okay.
Please go
Okay,
ahead.
great. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving that overview. We can go to the next slide, and I'll just very briefly introduce our speakers today. That way we can jump into the content from them. As I mentioned, we have two individuals, very experienced, very passionate about the work that they do and promoting the growth of farming in Eastern Cape. We're going to first hear from Mr. Meli. He is the founder and director of Eoluntu Project Market Agency. He's also a market agent at the Kai Fresh Produce Market in Matata. He's bringing over 15 years of experience working in the fresh produce sector. His career began back at Fruit and Veg City, where he developed a very strong foundation in fresh produce operations and supply chain management and systems. He has completed a training in potato management. He has a market agency trading license and also a certificate in post-harvest handling and business training. He's very committed to the growth of smallholder farmers. Currently, he mentors farmers on different topics, such as accessing markets, securing funding, and also strengthening their participation in different value chains by holding events such as Farmer Days. His work, it continues to support farmers to access different market opportunities and looking for long-term development in the Eastern Cape. After we hear from him, and we'll have a brief time for some questions and answers, we're going to move to Mr. Malibo, who we're happy to have joining us. He is a junior operations manager in farmer development with Grain SA. And in that role, he contributes to producer growth and transformation initiatives. So his background, he has a Bachelor of Agricultural Honors in Agricultural Economics from the University of the Free State. And currently he's pursuing his master's degree at that same institution. And he's bringing a lot of valuable experience, specifically in applied research. So he's worked in the past under the guidance of Professor Jonas Bata on a water research commission project. And in that role, he's helped to strengthen his skills in production economics, policy analysis, farmer support, and all of that's really helping to translate research insights, translating those into practical solutions for farmers. He comes from a farming background in the Eastern Cape. He grew up observing and, he deeply understands both the progress and some of the challenges faced and experienced by Black farmers who acquired land through the land bank and other government reform initiatives. So those experiences have helped to shape his passion for agriculture, and they continue to inform his interest in developing frameworks that connect research and policy with those on-the-ground realities in the farming sector. Okay, so I'll stop there so we can jump right into some of the content. Let's go to the next slide, and I'll pass the microphone over to Mr. Meli to start us off. And you are on mute. You'll have to accept the consent to recording.
Hello, Caroline?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, okay. No, thank you. Good afternoon to everybody. Thank you so much for the opportunity. This is Meli from Eoluntu Project Market Agency. We are trading in Umtata at Kai Fresh Produce Market. Our core business is to provide market access opportunities for the farmers, the small farmers in particular, even the well-developed and commercial farmers starting from the district, the region that we are trading in, or Tambo, the former Transkei, and also in the province of the Eastern Cape with source produce, and even nationally. Even any farmer, is welcome to supply us with fresh produce. Fresh produce obviously is fruit and vegetables. That's what we are trading in. And also as well now, we're expanding even to grain. That means in particular the yellow maize and also the sugar beans. We are selling them now, and inputs like your fertilizers, your LAN, and potato seeds. That's what they're selling now. I won't necessarily rate or focus on the slides. I will just summarize everything for the sake of time. The intro and yes, and then as I have said, we're in the OR Tambo district. We guarantee the market access opportunities for the farmers. We're trying to help them because that's the fundamental question. The issue of market access by the farmers is the main issue. So our reason for existence is that exactly is to provide that market access opportunities for these farmers, and also to familiarize our farmers with the market dynamics, to understand the market standards, because our target market is formal sector, the retail, and they have standards and their strict requirements. Also, the procuring departments like your Department of Health, your SNDF, soldiers, the hospitals and the hospital industry, your hotels. So that's why we are straight also on the side of quality of the product. But that's the main issue. Yes, we can go to another slide. I think, Well, I'll just summarize. One of the programs, one of the things that we are doing here at the market, more especially as the project market agency, we are fortunate that the facility that we are trading in, we do have in our premises the potato washing and sorting machine. There, as we can see in that picture, there is a big truck loaded with the unwashed potatoes straight from the farm to the market. What it means is one of the key issues when it comes to the market or even farming in the value chain, issue of logistics to transport produce from the farms to the markets are very key. Yes, we understand our local farmers, our small guys, they don't have those big trucks. But I'm proud that this is one of the black farmers. That guy, in last year, this is 2023, he won as Enterprise Farmer of the Year from Potato SA nationally. That guy is in Kokstad, KZN. He won that award, and we are very proud of him. He's a black guy from Kokstad. His trade is commercial now. By that time, he was at the enterprise level, but now he's commercial. In that match, if you can go to that picture again, Zuki, the picture that you have shown us. Am I still audible? Can you hear me that side? Okay, thank you so much.
Yes.
So these are the potatoes. I was saying these are the potatoes. These potatoes there behind that truck, there's a potato pack house. That is a very big machine with the capacity of washing a day, 24 tons of potatoes that we wash in that machine. And with that capacity, also there's that element of job creation. It was one of the things that the agriculture can provide is to address this issue of job scarcity. So that machine, we have employed there about 15 employees only when we wash the potatoes. Now, that machine is washing, sorting, grading according to sizes, and also you can grade the potatoes now there to say this is class 1, class 2, class 3 as per the grades, because that is very important also, because that's what determines the price also as well. If you sell these potatoes unwashed as this, that means you can't get really profit or money that you desire to get. Now, that's why we wash them. Also, what informs us is that we did a product demand analysis. One of the products that are flying in the market, if I can advise farmers, is the potato. Potato is the product number one when it comes to fresh produce in the whole country, if not the continent. Potatoes is even the value chain of potato on its own, starting from the seeds up to the processing, the chips. Potato is very key. So we've decided, in fact, Tinga or Tamoten Agency decided to have this machine so that our farmers can participate meaningfully and compete with their counterparts, the commercial farmers, at least to get something. At least now, because when they're washed, at least you can get some money. Also, partner to this program is Potato SA and Department of Agriculture to handling on the technical side of things. So that's why there's this machine. So I was just talking about this machine. It's very important to have it. But when it comes to infrastructure also, there is another pack house that is coming. It's being funded by ECDC in the province, of course, working with Ntinga or Tamoto and agents. They are busy building the pack house. That pack house will package the products. Remember, there is what is called it's GPAP. I'm not sure who's the point is here. It's GPAP. I think it's GPAP, but it's a government procurement process thing. I think something like that. But ECDC, SRDA is given a mandate to commercialize agriculture at the province, in the province. So one of the programs that they are starting now, they are preparing farmers, working with the Department of Agriculture and other NGOs like Tanager, to make sure that they prepare farmers so that they access that market of government, like the procuring departments, like your health and other departments that are procuring. Our farmers can, so that they can access that market. But by doing that, again, there are standards. There's what is called SA gap. That SA gap is being championed by each Department of Agriculture in the province. So some farmers now, they need to prepare themselves, but the SA gap training already started in the district. Other districts, neighboring districts in the province, I know already they are far ahead of Tambo, if we can compare. Even here in the Tambo, they've started now to make sure that our farmers can benefit, even if they supply the retail and other informal sector, but also as well, they benefit, they play a role there at the government procurement departments. So that's why there's that GPAP thing. So one of those things of the requirements is this issue of product presentation. Like your products must meet the standards. It must have that attraction. So now, various departments and other government institutions, they've decided to install those. Okay. Am I audible?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So other departments have already started. Now, can we move to another slide? I'm worried about time.
And you're fine. Yeah, this is a great overview. We'll go to the next slide, please.
Okay. Maybe let's go to. So that, yes, project goals. We need to one of those. I think I've touched already in some of the issues here. One of the key things that are very important is for government and NGOs and private sector to work together so that we can so that we can have impact at the end. We need to capacitate our farmers. We need to capacitate our farmers so that they can produce massively, and also they can access easily the markets, and they can sustain themselves. So that is very important. That enhancement of farmer capacity, that is very important, so that also we increase yields, because it is very important. Now in our days, we don't have to farm for the sake of farming. we need to farm to understand the business side of things. We need to be conscientized so that farmers can understand that farming is business. Also, importantly, is for us to attract youth in agriculture. One of the unfortunate things when it comes to agriculture, I think that's still our splenetic tendency. We perceive agriculture as old traditional thing, not really to take it as business where you can sustain yourself and also you can live out of agriculture. There are those people that they understand like that agriculture. It's not really attracting the more especially youth, the way they perceive it. So we need to have campaigns so that we can attract youth, and then it'd be easy for anyone to capacitate them because the youth are trainable people, are educated, they can catch things quite fast. We need to improve market access opportunities. Also, we need to consider the issue of technology. We need to improve the way we're doing things. We need to change. That's one thing. Importantly, our smallholder farmers, we need to do this when it comes to capacitation. There's a lot is broad that is very broad. We need to familiarize farmers with the market strategies. What determines the price? What influence these issues of supply and demand, so that farmers can understand. One of the objectives of a Uluntu project, market agents, is to coordinate production, is to coach farmers and conscientize them around the issue of product scheduling. Even if we can plant one thing at the same time, sometimes, for as long we know when to harvest what, and then like now we're approaching festive season, it will be very much hectic. It will be just madness, pandemonium. It will be very busy now. There are so many ceremonies now. A farmer that planned the production will know exactly now. It's about time now to realize profits now and also to get good prices because everything is on demand. Everybody's excited, buying, people have money, bonuses and all the stuff. Wedding ceremonies, imikiti and stuff. Well, yeah. So I'm saying we need our farmers to coach them. We need to do those workshops talking specifically about marketing, market strategies, market linkages, and all those, what influences that. So those are the things that are very important. Also, of course, working with other technical partners, because this issue of quality of product is very key. Issue of quality of products is very key. That's another thing. When it comes to compare with their counterparts, the commercial farmers, these are the things that we need to do. Issues of infrastructure like access market, roads to the farms. Access to the farms is one of those key issues, more especially for our small farmers, for smallholder farmers. That's another thing where government must intervene and also do something. Of course, working with sometimes with NGOs or Tanager is doing a very important role in the process of this thing. Cape. I saw them ever since I've met them. They are doing a wonderful job. Here, this picture, there's other product that is hidden somewhere, like the grain. The grain farmers, they were introduced to us by Tanager. Tanager did that massive production of grain, made like maize, where farmers, they supplied us with that grain, and then we've managed to solve it. Now, here, this picture is our floor, our trading floor. We source the produce from the farmers. These are like this cabbage is from Ilsigisigi in Moza, local municipality. You see there's spinach, other side from Hlonhlo, all the local municipalities of Watambo. Even beyond this district, there are schemes in the neighboring districts like Yolnoka and Kamata. Those guys are supplying us. Those produce are from Yuki, that's Jogabi, other area. We are proud to say we've managed to support farmers big ever since we have started 2022 end. Yeah. Ever since we started, we've managed to help so many farmers with various by sourcing their products. Here is the meeting, for instance, in this boardroom, where we're preparing for Information Day. There are programs that we have initiated ever since we have started, just in these 2 years. We saw the gaps. We saw the gaps when it comes to farmers. There are other issues that they need to be addressed, but we initiated an information day, one of those things, to say we need to call speakers and other experts. Where they come, we have topics and panel discussions. That's what we did last year with our first annual information day, where we invited even the media of the industry. We invited experts, economists, and other guys, agronomists, and many speakers, just to encourage and share information with farmers. Those who are doing research, tertiary institutions were here. So that's what we did. Here, we're preparing for this year Information Day. Another last program that I can touch that we are doing, trying to close the gaps that we saw. It's a supply development program where it's a farmer supply development program of Eluntu, where we have identified gaps, and also we picked up some farmers, about 40 farmers in the district of Fort Tambo, 8 local municipality, where we're starting a pilot program, but it will be a full-fledged program, where we're saying we want to prepare those farmers so that they can be reliable suppliers of Eluntu, because our target market, the retail, they want consistency when it comes to supply. They want this thing to have something today and then tomorrow we don't have. So also the quality products, we must have a reliable farmers, although even farmers outside of this program will be supported, will take their produce, but these ones specifically will produce for us. But we want a full-fledged program where in the next coming years, we even invite other farmers to come in. But meanwhile, even other farmers can supply us. Farmer trainings, these are the key activities. Obviously, these workshops, like this one, the information that we had, that I was showing there. Market facilitation, we invite farmers most of the time to come and where we demonstrate, we invite your Tanager, your Department of Agriculture, your Ntinga, all the time with the agents. We invite SA and other guys to come and talk to farmers. And also we raise our issues with the products. Was already departments and government and private sector, they're investing a lot of money, but the impact, that's very key thing. Can we have impact? But when we work together, we can have impact. All of us will close the gap. The value chain, we make sure that we play that role. Quality control issues post the harvest, that is very key. That's where also we're playing a role. Even on the pack house that is coming, we'll showcase there, we'll be part of that and trying to share the information. Input support, one of the gaps, farmers, they are complaining that the inputs are expensive. There were so many things internationally, globally, that were influencing the price of the fertilizer in particular. The global wars, like the Ukraine conflict, everybody knows that it affected the price of fertilizers and other things. Now, we managed to talk to the guys who are blending and also producing fertilizers to supply us so that we can give our farmers at a reasonable price. Currently, we're selling fertilizers and land and potato seeds just to assist the farmers. But our core business is to market the fresh produce or their produce to keep the market access, but also to cover that. And also we're coming with the packaging material now, because there's a lot that we must teach farmers. Uniformity, the product presentation, those things, but you must demonstrate, you must come with the packaging material to say you need to buy the same product, so the same packaging material, uniform, so that it can be attractive to the customer. Those small things are playing a very important role because they're impacting on the price. Logistic coordination. We're trying now to have our own transport. Yes, the SETFA, we've managed to source funding and secure some funding from SETFA, the blended finance, together with SRDA, to buy a truck. That truck is coming next week. The 8-ton truck that will source the produce from processors to the market. At least it's not enough, but at least we'll try something. We'll make sure that we support our farmers. At least the rate also must be subsidized a bit, because even we need to sustain ourselves, but at least we'll be reasonable. We can't be like a private person. Now, that truck is coming, 2 buckets. We have 2 buckets. Next week, we have 2 buckets already. We have 1 bucket now. The other bucket is coming 4x4 with the truck, 8-ton truck, so that we can intervene and assist farmers, because this issue of transport is very key, the logistics. So at least by the time we need product, they must behave it. Because once a farmer harvests something, the vegetables are very highly perishable. Once someone is harvested something in these extreme weather conditions, and then the transport doesn't come, it will just rot in the farm, and then it will demoralize the farmer. And the farmer is sweating for 3 months or 4 months to produce that product. So it's very important. And also data collection. Yes, we have systems here. We're trying to up our game when it comes to that one. But at least we have even in the social media, we're there. we're trying to market ourselves and yes, to get information, and also working with the NGOs like Tanager, there are so many stakeholders that are helping us. So at least we are trying to do that. Because of time and I can't really go in detail in some of the things. Farmer, now coming to that instant payment. Our model currently is a commission model. We deal with consignments. We take your produce. That one we are supposed to say it in the beginning, but it's still time even now. We take your produce and then we sell and pay you after and take the commission. The commission is 12.5%. 7.5% is for e-agency, is for us because we are marketing for you on behalf. We are your ambassador. We are working with you. We are one team because we sell on your behalf. You can't do everything. You can't be champion in producing and then champion in marketing. You can't do all those things. So our role is to do that. We are biased towards our small farmers, emerging farmers, because the successful guys, commercial farmers, they already have their own agents. If you produce and then you don't have where to sell, you can't do that. There's no luck here. We need to plan these things properly. We do have to take agreements with farmers, and then we continue, and also letters of support and assist them when it comes to access funding and stuff. We can always recommend farmers, more especially those we know they are committed and they mean business. So we pay after. But what is important for us that I must announce here, I must say, the current model is not really exciting, more special to our small farmers. Yes, it's not a problem when it comes to the big farmers, successful farmers. But it's all about, it's a question of volumes. It's a question of volumes. They sell to the markets and also they can realize profits because this game of consignment, it needs big volumes. Our farmers, they are still starting. So it is always better for them when they supply and then give their money immediately. But unfortunately, when this comes to this model, remember, we're highly regulated by APEC. We have this commission model and this fresh produce market. We don't have a choice, but we must do that. But we're trying at least to pay twice a week. Twice a week we pay farmers, twice a week, and we sell. One of the strategies that we trying to push to improve things is to pre-sell the products. By the time it's coming already, we're talking to our farmers. We have so many customers. Out of about 9 spas in Tata, 9 spas, they're buying from us. And other retail and other wholesalers are buying from us. Informal traders, workers are buying from us. Now the demand is there. The demand is there. Like now, as I'm speaking to you, there are about 800 loose heads that I was receiving this afternoon. That's on this floor. So at least we are trying to push. One of the products that I can say farmers they must focus on is potatoes. We never go wrong. Cabbages, obviously spinach, your peppers, your tomatoes, you never go wrong there. And then the grain, obviously the yellow maize, and also the sugar beans. So it's one of those things that you never go wrong.
Could I, sorry to interrupt, just because of time, I wanted to ask maybe one question, and then I'd like us to move to the next speaker, and if we have time at the end, we can come back. Is that okay?
No, with pleasure, Caroline. I'm fine with that.
Maybe, yeah, just one question I would like to ask, and thank you so much for outlining what you're currently doing. We had some questions submitted earlier, but I think you've answered a lot of them through your presentation. But just thinking about the future, thinking about maybe 2026, is there one or two things that you're planning to focus on looking forward? Do you have any priorities?
Okay, thank you so much. One of the very important things where we saw the gap when it comes to our farm, because you always bias towards our farmers here, and then other farmers, yes, work with them. But we want to prepare and conscientize them. Of course, working with other partners in this thing of quality improvement of the products and also understand the business side of things. Maybe we think we can do that through this farmer supply development program that we're doing, both is that concept is having a range of things. We're addressing so many questions there. And also the issue of mechanizations, we want to address there. The issue of market access understanding, like the dynamics of the market for farmers to understand. We want to intensify those programs. There are programs that we want to intensify. And also partnerships with, of course, with NGOs and also private sector and government. If we can work together, we think we want to focus on those things. More respect through this supply chain program, where we think we want to have a demonstration plot where together we have a space where we demonstrate. But we are busy with that. That process is underway. We want to find a space where we can demonstrate, where Potato SA, where Grain SA, where Tanager, Department of Agriculture and other guys can come. So we want to focus with those areas so that we prefer, because the product that we're giving to our customers must be a very good product that we can be proud of, and even that farmer can market the farmer. So those are the things, if I can just summarize, that we want to focus on. And of course, and try to up our game as Eulund, at least with this support, this start by SETFA and SRDA, we think, yeah, yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Yeah, and if you have questions, you can feel free to put it into the chat. I'm going to hand over the microphone to Mr. Malibo, please. And again, yeah, okay, great.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Thank you for the opportunity, and greetings to everybody and the producers online and the facilitators thereof. I think our colleague has mentioned briefly the dynamics that are microeconomic affecting the producers. I'm just going to allude to the economic perspective at a macro level of faced by producers, particularly in our rural and former homelands, and that would be the target of the development space. So in South Africa, the agriculture is very resilient, but it's also volatile. That is given due to the weather variability that there is, and also the technologies that play a role, and the technologies that are probably not even available for those at the development level. So our GDP growth swings with the weather, global prices, and geopolitical issues that we face. That directly affects our inputs, because we are importing majority of our inputs that are needed for production in South Africa. So with that being said, can you just go back to the previous slide? Let's just stick to the first slide. Okay, yeah, we'll move on to the next one now. So this volatility hits smallholder farmers the hardest, especially women who farm in small fragmented plots without access to affordable finance, storage, and mechanization. And I think our colleague alluded to that as well. So moving briefly, can you move then to the next slide? Okay, so what would assist then farmers is to pre-arrange sales, have lobbying and contract agreements and relationships, such as the market that was on before I spoke, to say that this is what we expect to harvest and what would be the price at that time, and also reducing the risk of uncertainty. So we need to de-risk our smallholder farmers, because with that high risk, it impacts on the returns that they get, and at the end of the day, they have to service then the monies that they've put in down for the inputs that they purchased at the beginning of the season. So I think that's when the policies often includes input support from the buyers. That is particularly important. Can you move to the next slide then? So the information gaps which developing and smallholder farmers actually really face would be of transport, poor infrastructure, fencing to secure the product while it's still growing, and it's all in its physiological stage, as well as the high cost of inputs, which would be your fuel, fertilizers, and seed. So just briefly, proper planning would assist farmers, and also planning for storage and how one would deliver and the mode of transportation, which was also alluded to earlier. Also, one needs to minimize possible seed losses by not by harvesting too late. Your crop then drops on the ground where it then minimizes the returns that you would essentially get. So that particular information, when you speak of information gaps, trying to harvest at the right time, and that would, for instance, any adverse weather conditions such as too much rain, wind, hail damage on a mature crop have huge impact. So knowing what weather is coming towards your region and direction, that's the information that we speak about at a farm level. You try and minimize damage from pests, insects, and birds, but it boils down to what chemicals will you be using and at what particular stage of the growth of that particular crop that you'll be planting. So those are the most important information that really would assist farmers to obtain a homogeneous crop which is of market standard, that is got good sizes and is acceptable and meets the recommended standards that the formal market then demands. So we can then move to the next slide. Okay, so how can we get smallholder farmers to participate effectively in agriculture value chains? So access to market is very important. We need to try and aggregate the model, and so that we can get consistent volumes and quality being supplied at the right time. Financing and risk management. I think a tailored finance models or blended finance, crop insurance, that risk comes up again to say what happens when a smallholder loses their crop, what happens to the next season that is to ensue, because at the end of the day, it boils down to food security and the livelihoods of those in the former homelands. Infrastructure and logistics, those are high capital cost requirements, including storage, which how do we then assist these particular individuals at that level? I think those are the questions that need to be raised by people of development, which include Tanager, Grain South Africa, which is Farmer Development Program, and many others, including the parastatals, which are ECRDA down in the Eastern Cape. Public and private partnerships will then speak to that, mergers of agribusiness, the government, farming organizations, where they get together and try and tackle that. So the slide you've got here as well is because often our farmers plant at a particular time where the harvest is around June, July, and August. And you will see that on a 10-year index average from 2014, maize prices always tend to be the lowest in July and in August. And that is the majority of the developing or smallholder farmers' harvest period. And to get that harvest period earlier, where the favorable prices lie in April and May, or even be able to store and sell at a later stage, would be November, December, directly affects the cash flow of those farmers, because once they're not selling at that particular time, they don't have money to purchase inputs on time, nor if they hold till later, they're going to start planting at a later stage. So those are the dynamical issues which are fundamentally affecting our farmers there. So I'm just going to briefly touch on maize, but we can move on to the next slide as well. Okay, so cooperatives and pool producing to meet buyer demand is very important. By that we mean that study groups or farmers in a particular area who can mobilize and come together to often pull together the product so that it is worthwhile to transport it from the farm to the actual market, because those transportation costs and handling costs are one that is eroding away the profit margins of the actual producer. It increases bargaining power because you can maybe hold back a particular portion and you create that supply and demand that there will be in the market. It reduces transport cost and enables then shared infrastructure with the high capital investments that I spoke about, which would be your storage and roads. We can move on to the next thing. So pre-arranged sales, I think I mentioned that earlier to say that have a chat with institutions that are willing to assist farmers or buyers and having those bilateral agreements. And oftentimes farmers cannot participate in the formal market, so to say, which would be the suffix trading, because they don't have the relevant quantities or they do not have this homogeneous crop which meets the standard of this formalized market due to maybe pest damage, hail damage, and not having the infrastructure to harvest on time, or the necessary information and knowledge to say what pests and diseases they are plagued with at that particular time. Things like crop rotation comes in handy with that knowledge that I spoke about, and constant mentorship, which most organizations do, is paramount to the achievement of those that are subject to the training. We can move on to the next slide. So real-time pricing, price information. So that is the information asymmetry where farmers need to know what they are targeting or what they will be producing at what quantity and selling it at what price. It helps in the planning, and it helps actually knowing whether to hold back or to disperse your maize and sell it at that particular time. So platforms like webinars, SMSs, apps, radios, those are the systems that need to be used to get down to the people and try and bridge the knowledge gap that there is. It enables the marketers as well as the farmer to negotiate, to say that, well, the price had recently dropped or the prices is going up, and it justifies a lot of the decisions that get taken on the ground. We can move on to the next slide. This is a budget where I say, so in order for you to know whether you're in the money or out the money, that is a relative term that is used by traders who trade these commodities, is to say, how much have I spent in my inputs? We will see that maize constitute, in maize, fertilizer and seed constitute about 60% of the input cost, if not 70%. Now, those are imported. It links back to the geopolitical effects, the rand dollar, where it's trading at, because even the distributors of those particular products are then importing it at a particular price. You look at your fuel, that is also imported into the country. So we are subject to this. This is what we merely at this moment at a microeconomic level, as a farmer on the ground, where you barely can influence these factors, but you can always influence planting on the right planting window period, harvesting correctly at the right time before your seed drops on the ground, monitoring and evaluating of pests and diseases during the growth stages of the crop. So all these small things are done on the farm before we can get to the actual markets, because by the time you get to the market, it is too late to revert back and do this correctly. So that would be the direct linkage to see, how do I then gain that access? It is to know that you need to use your fertilizer effectively and how to spread it effectively. And I think there's a lot of mentorship that goes into that to bridge that knowledge gap, to be able for our farmers to be particularly in the know-how of how much they've spent and what are the rewards, or what money do they need to break even going forward. So it'll help you whether to hold back or to actually sell that particular crop. You can move to the next slide. This is just white maize. Again, on an average of over 10 years, it's been 3,427. It helps you to budget so that we do not say maize per ton cost us 4,000 Rand, because on a 10-year average, it is 3,400 Rand. So that is the particular information that smallholder farmers need to know. Oftentimes people budget at very bullish prices, and oftentimes gives a shortfall when they're actually reconciling the books. You can move to the next slide. The following one would be then yellow maize. We can move to the next slide, please. That would be yellow maize at 3,100, predominantly planted in the Eastern Cape. So that's what we are looking at. So you need to try and keep those input costs at an all-time low. There's a lot of subsidies. There's a lot of assistance as well from the parastatals, which one needs to make use of so that they can accumulate reserves and surplus so that they can grow their area of production, because economies of scale comes to play when you are then procuring inputs or doing a pool funding as a group of farmers in a particular area. You can move on to the next slide. what is important, again, I'm going to hammer down to say storage is very important for your fresh produce. That would be your cold rooms, logistic investments. So how do you then get your product to the market, or how do you get your inputs to the lands where you're going to be planting? So that mode of logistics is very important. It's worthwhile investing in. Business development service providers, organizations like Tanager themselves, Grain South Africa, where we're from, we need to train farmers on business skills. Financial acumen is very important to say, what is it that I keep back? What is it that I need to spend on? What asset do I need to purchase at a particular time? Otherwise, with that being said, people tend to make the wrong expenditures at the wrong time. And you find that a particular tool or implement could have been postponed for a later stage. You can build a storage of maximum capacity, but if you cannot produce to that target, you are underutilizing that. So we need to try and get those inflection points of production, particularly in putting down an investment for somebody who is really spread thin in terms of cash flow and having that capital available. PPPs, that is your public-private partnerships. I think I've spoken mainly about that, which is the department who's responsible for fencing and who's responsible for the maintenance of the roads that lead us to our markets. Policy to ensure inclusiveness and fairness, females, children, youth that are involved in participating in that. What space and what role can society take on to say that we really are supporting, and there are households, because majority of South African households, speaking in South African context, are female-led households. So what role and what spaces are we opening up as a society to those particular individuals? We can move then to the next one, because in essence it goes to household food security. You know, they speak of 1 hectare, 1 woman per household, to try and alleviate the poverty that is in and around those areas. This would be particularly a Tanager program, which you can see clearly what impact it's got and what role it plays in the livelihoods of those in the homelands, particularly these females that I've mentioned and youth that is involved there. So we need to intensify and lobby for these PPPs, which are private-public partnerships, to try and increase the portfolios of the monies that we manage to try and impact those individuals and contribute to the livelihoods. Grain SA is coming in where people are planting and yielding 1.3, 2.3 tons per hectare. With mentorship and information and the necessary skills, we can increase that to about 8.9. That is all with proper support. The next slide, please. Market access is essentially for viability. No one size fits all. We work in Limpopo. The situation there is different, and it's got to be treated as such. We work in Mpumalanga. Mpumalanga is a different case, and that's a different scenario. So is the Northwest, and so is the Eastern Cape. So a blanket approach does not work, and often development agencies push on a blanket approach at a high level where they discuss strategically their aims, and it is difficult to implement it on the ground and does not become as efficient as intended. So I plead with development organizations to not put a blanket approach when assisting the developing smallholder farmers. Empowerment and fairness, coming with strong linkages. I think relationships are important on the part of farmers. Farmers need to have good relationships with the people down there. Collaboration is key. I think I've mentioned that. We can move to the next slide. Okay, so now this is the call to action. If we view smallholders not only as producers, but as entrepreneurs in a wider value chain and support them accordingly, their contribution to food security, job creation, and rural economies can be far more significant, including NGOs, advisors and mentors, private sector relations, as well as farmers' organizations and the producers themselves. With that being said, I hope it was insightful and informative. We will be taking the questions. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for outlining those strategies and such detail and providing some practical examples. Maybe one question I'll ask, and this was a question submitted beforehand. Do you have any examples of specific climate smart practices that you've either come across, you've seen implemented in the Eastern Cape, or maybe in other parts of the country that you feel like should be further promoted to enhance productivity and protect farmers against risk? You started your presentation off talking about weather variability. So I'm just curious if you have any specific examples you'd like to share.
Okay, thank you for that. There are climate smart technology that we are, but in the developing space, it becomes difficult because technology can be available, but not accessible because of the cost implications behind that. And most of these farmers are lacking the basic knowledge and skills of production before we can get to these climate smart technologies. But we do speak about crop rotation. I think that's one instance. We are creating awareness on ESGs, which is the environmental social impacts. There they speak of how to plant and how to till. I think that is a basic form of a climate smart initiative, where how do you maintain moisture? What crop cover do you leave at a low cost level? Now we speak on a high level where there's drones involved and other organizations to say that they are coming in with these technologies, but accessibility is just the issue. For an example, one has mentioned seed, where your seed that is more resistant or tolerable and you can treat weeds within that becomes more expensive per kernel versus your conventional seed, and people tend to buy the cheapest. Now, unfortunately, this does not yield the best results. So in all forms, technology is available, but we just need support in terms of getting it to the farmers, and that speaks to access.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. I know we're about at the end of the time. We can go to this last slide, Zuki. Really appreciate the time from the speakers. Appreciate the time from those of you on the call. If you can give us 2 minutes, there's a QR code on the screen. We'd appreciate any feedback that you have, not only about the content of today's session, but also if you have ideas of other types of topics that you'd like to hear about. The Tanager team, we're planning to hold these types of webinars or types of sessions once a quarter. So if you have ideas of other topics, we would love to hear those. But again, just thank you so much for your time. Thanks for the speakers to share your insights and really practical examples and strategies to consider. We will be adding this recording to YouTube. So yeah, next week, if you want to go and look for that, we'll have it available and you can share with others. But otherwise, thank you so much. Sammy, any last words from your side?
No, I just want to thank the two speakers, for sharing their insights, which I can see come from years of experience in the trade, and what can be more, insightful, knowledgeable, exciting for us to hear from stalwarts of the industry. So thank you very much, the two speakers, for sharing your insights and experiences. And I mean, this is like a first of the many webinars that we'll have every quarter. And I hope, each one of them is as insightful or more as today's. So thank you very much for everybody also, who's attending on the call today. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Good evening.
Thank you so much. Thanks, guys, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.